We are doing something kind of different today. It is different. Let's call it what it is. Let me hook up my microphone real quick. But I decided that if I'm going to stream, I'm going to use some of my older consoles. And so I am going through the process right now of opening them up. And I've already gone through a couple of them, but I was hoping maybe I could get some people to look at some stuff and see some blasts from the past. So let's see here. Let's plug this in. Okay, we're all set. Here we are on the mic. So check this out. So I was hooking this up, and this is really what I wanted to show because I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's go. So I was like, here we go. I'm looking at my old Xbox 360. And yes, if you are wondering, that is very much a faceplate and a memory card. There's a memory card here. This is the... Holy smokes. Wish the... Will the auto zoom work, please? Oh, can you get it? Can you get it? Can you get it? It's almost there. And this is 256 megabytes. Yeah, megabytes. See? It's having the damnedest time trying to figure this out. There we go. 256 megabytes. That was the biggest of these memory cards. These memory cards came in like a 256, and then there was like half. I think it's like half of this. This was the biggest one. Maybe it was double. I'm not sure. I forget. I remember I have the biggest one, and this was the only one I had. And I think my when I got an Xbox 360, I got the first one I got was a core system, or whatever they wanted to call it, which was basically just the system. This is a redo, so this is still the early Xbox 360, but this one actually has the HDMI port in there, which is nice because now you can use more modern techniques versus the old just using the I/O port. So let's take a look here at what else is in here. So obviously a hard drive, as you can see. This is not the largest hard drive that they made in this style. I think it's a great question. That's a great question for me to answer. Is this the largest one? I think they did come out with a 250 gigabyte in this style. And then the Xbox 360S got a 500 gigabyte HDD. I know that there is at least a 240 of one of them. I think the smaller one. But this, I think, is the largest one that they had for hard drives. And this is a throwback. Look at this proprietary connector that Microsoft made. I remember back in the day, even though Xbox 360 was the cheaper of the consoles, that having to buy these for like storage space, and people were pissed about having proprietary content or proprietary forms of storage on their consoles, which is hilarious, by the way, because everyone thought that, oh, well, Sony uses a laptop drive, it's so much better. Well, Sony also, tried to stick two different forms of memory stick on you so many times. Memory stick for the PSP, and then when the PS Vita came out, they tried to do another one of these. Hey, with proprietary memory, they tried really hard, so don't let them fool you. That they were better. It was both shitty. So one of the things, this is funny because I've seen a lot of people talking about these on like TikTok. What are these? What are these? These are wireless adapters. This Xbox does not. This is even the second generation, or whatever you want to call this, the redo of the first generation of the Xbox 360 did not feature any wireless capabilities. You had to buy one of these to be wireless. Otherwise, you had to plug it in through the Ethernet. Now, these ones actually only came with three, as you can see in here, 3 USBs, which was nice because the previous generation, the Xbox original, actually didn't feature that capacity at all. It had special proprietary plugs, which I don't have. An original Xbox. They're starting to shoot up in value right when I wanted to, get some classics. So right now, if you're collect for Xbox 360. You can get the games for wicked cheap. And because of backwards compatibility, it means that maybe these games aren't going to become so pricey because you can still play them any way you want. And then that means that the people who are just buying the games because they want to play the games won't have to, they can just buy them on the newer consoles, whereas the actual collectors can collect these. Yeah, you can see this one. Let's see here, because Microsoft likes to put this stuff on here. All right, so the manufacture date of this console, 2008, August 18th, 2008. Oh my God. That is like a year, that's a year and a half after I graduated. Oh my God. That's crazy. What was I doing in 2008? In 2008, August 2008, I was in college. Yeah, I was at school learning game design development. But wow, that's crazy. Oh man, that makes me feel old. 2008. Because 2008 does not feel that long ago, but it is very much long ago. All right. Take a look at this too. So Microsoft finally excuse me for my language, finally got the memo about not needing these pieces of junk. This is the original power brick that came with the Xbox 360. This is actually an original one because I kept a lot of that stuff. In this case, I mostly just got, a friend of mine was giving away his Xbox, which is what this was, and I took it because it had HDMI, and I traded in the actual core unit that I had. Both of these have already red ringed, so they're hopefully in a good shape, but the solder might still break. The solder is definitely not good on these for the solder balls. We can reflow it, but there's no point. Don't reflow it unless it needs to be reflowed, which is to say, if it's not catastrophically failing, you don't need to reflow it. All right, so let's attach these. Now, if you don't know, check this out. So you see these little holes right here? Perfectly designed to fit this, the wireless adapter. So you just plug it in, boom. Let's see here. Plug it in, slide this part on top, slide this part on bottom, and it fits right into the console. It's actually kind of form-fitted if you looked at it. Let's see here. Can it get in there? Yeah, it's kind of form-fitted so that it fits perfectly around the console. Kind of cool, kind of fun. Let's talk about... Oh, shoot. And there I go, knocking it down. It's not the most stable thing right now because the plastic piece at the top is kind of shit. Look at this. This thing has seen better days. There is no doubt about that. When they say better days, they really mean better days. But that thing, there you go. And that's how we got wireless back then. I'm going to let you know something. You should not be playing video games on a wireless adapter. You should be plugging this bad boy in. The servers at the time were not good. Wireless, even though it was pretty fast, in terms of playing an actual game, it was very slow. Very slow. Let's see here. I should have more cables for this stuff. All right, so by the way, let's take a look at this. This was from a game called Eternal Sonata. Obviously, that's the name, but let's take this off. You can take these off and then expose the front of the Xbox. They sold faceplates. This is at the time. I'm actually going to grab a air compressor for this. But this was at the time when Microsoft was still if you were alive in the mid 2000s, customizing your stuff was very popular. Cell phones had customizable faceplates. The Game Boy Micro came out and it had customizable faceplates. Obviously, this has customizable faceplates. A lot of people like the idea of having, a a ability to identify their object as theirs. Nobody else could have it. And so, you know, customizable faceplates were kind of the thing to do that with. They kind of went out of style a little bit, and then once cell phones like the iPhone started coming out. Oh shoot, that dust is not coming out of there. Anyway, we'll clean that out. I've got some cleaner. No, when the iPhone came out, the iPhone changed kind of how people were. So cases became more important than the front of the phone because the front of the phone was almost all screen. You know, obviously those older iPhones, if you look at them now, the bezel is insane. But, you know, back then when it's all screen, when it's just the screen to control the phone, changing them out would be kind of difficult. So a lot of people ended up, like the cell phone cases became very popular. And now we see that the cases are still very popular. A lot of people get cases with their phones. I don't like getting cases with phones. I think when these manufacturers make their phones, they make their phones for a reason. You know, they think they're beautiful and stuff, and you know, case kind of hides that up. But I will say this, lately, with the amount of people who are with the amount of phones that are coming out and they're just the same blah color and the same blah shape, I can see now why cases are so popular, because you can at least do something to break up the blah. Wow, really nice. This isn't that bad. This is pretty clean. I've never opened it up. I bet you if I open it up, I'll find all sorts of maybe some roach drippings or something. Not that we have roaches or anything, but you know, over time, this stuff is super old. You know, you could have had roaches at one point, gotten rid of them, and there's all this stuff inside your consoles and stuff. Bugs that just happen to climb in through. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Now we can leave this, and surprisingly enough, I've never seen Microsoft release a clear see-through cover, which seemed like it was kind of in vogue still at the time. I think it kind of went away, but that clear see-through plastic was still kind of a thing. It's kind of a deal. All right, cleaning this up real quick. I just want to kind of give this a quick little clean. Is it gross? Sure. All right, that's all. All that animal bug poop is out of there. All right, we're just going to slide this back on. These slide on real easy. Slide it like that and pop it in there. Boom. It's done. I remember this has been here for so long that now I can do it with my fingers. But back in the day when these stuffs were brand new, they were tight. You almost had to use real force. You really had to push it in there to get it out. Now not so much. I don't have the original cover for this Xbox 360. I don't know where it is. I must have lost it over time or given it to somebody or traded it in. Or perhaps because this was a replacement, like I traded with my friends and all that stuff. Maybe the old one I had, I gave away, and this was the only one I have left. But it's the only one I got. It's here. They're all over the place for all sorts of games. So if you're collecting for the Xbox 360, especially these early ones, don't forget about these faceplates. They're kind of a big deal for the entire ownership of the early consoles. So, nice little treat there. I don't have the power cord with me right at this moment. I have the brick, but I don't have the power cord. Who remembers this bull crap? Having to charge up the Xbox 360 controllers. Controllers are still in the box. I can go grab those in a minute, but I'm going to hold off for just a moment because I have a few other things I want to show off. So, we'll pop this back in there. Pop this bad boy back in there. Everything on this is pretty much hooked up. I have an HDMI cable somewhere, and I'll just plug in an HDMI cable. We're good to go there. But here is the cool one that I wanted to show off too. This is a PlayStation 3. This is not the super rare PS3 that can play PS2 games. Unfortunately, PS2 game, that one was very expensive at the time. And a lot of people did not get that one. I believe Sony stopped selling that a year after it was done. I think they redesigned some of the innards and took it out because the price was so high for the PlayStation 3 featuring the PlayStation 2 emotional chip or whatever they wanted to call it. So what ended up happening is Sony took that out and kind of, there's still some emulation that you can do, but there wasn't a whole lot. I think this one can't play at all. There was the original PlayStation 3 that came out, the $600 one that had the chip that could play every PlayStation 2 game because it was a PlayStation 2 on a chip. Whereas there was also a version when this one is around that could play like 80%, but it had to use an emulator built into software, so it wasn't quite perfect. It could only play like 80% of the games. Certain games couldn't access what it needed to, and you were limited by your resolutions and stuff like that. Whereas with the PS2 on a chip, you weren't as limited. You could actually get it in widescreen and stuff. Check this out. Wow. This is how I know I'm old, because I remember having to use this plug right here so much. This is the plug for a plug like this, which is what a lot of people had to do when you plugged in the 3 cables into your computer. Or into your TV. So you plug in right here, boom, good to go. You see there's a digital out on here, which is kind of crazy that there's a digital out here. Because there's not one on here, but there is one on the next Xbox that I'll show you, because I have the Xbox One. I have my Series X out in the living room on the TV where I play, but as you can see, here's the digital out, which is crazy. Early PlayStations had the 3 cables on the sides and stuff, but this one, the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 did not feature that. They actually featured these cables. And this is actually, I believe this is the only way you could plug in a PS2 as well, was with that cable slot. So if you had a PS2 and you went to buy a PS3, all you had to do was replace that piece, and then this became like the norm, which is a computer plug instead of what was on the PS2. But super cool. This one, as you can see, is a, let's see if we can get it in there. CECHGO1. That's the model. That is the version of the early PS3 that I have. When I first got this, I could actually take this piece off, but there's supposed to be a screw right here to allow you to do that. And unfortunately, I did get it repaired because this one had a yellow light that happened, and the yellow light was because the disk drive right here sucked. So you can see this one does not have the ability to open up, only has the 2 USB ports, which is fine. I just wanted it to play Uncharted, I'll be honest with you. Uncharted and maybe Metal Gear or something, but that's all I cared about. I didn't care about any of the other games on there. So let me get up here. Shoot, that thing was going crazy. That might go all over the place. Let me get up here. I'm gonna go take a look here. See if I can grab more stuff out of this bin. I got plenty of cables, that's for sure. Oh man, check this out. I actually have a Blu-ray remote. Remember, Blu-ray was a big deal, and the PS3 was one of the few things that could use it. I either could have bought a Blu-ray player or a
PS3, and I wanted a PS3 to play Blu-rays. So there you go. Now you could play Blu-rays without the remote control on the PS3, but I mean, who does that? The remote control made it so much easier. See if I can find any more cabling. Nothing in there. I think that's all the cables that I have for this thing. I think I lost a lot of them. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I think I lost most of the cables. Interesting. So, at the time, if you wanted to do video game capture, you had to get one of these. Anybody remember these? Oh shit, it's upside down. This is the Elgato Game Capture HD. It actually had like the pieces for capturing game. This is the early days. Had HDMI out, HDMI in. And if you remember right, you had to get a piece. It came with these kind of pieces. So this one allows you to plug in composite. This one allows you to plug into directly into the PlayStation so the PlayStation can see. Unfortunately, what that means is all I have is this. This is the only way that right now that I can connect that PlayStation to anything. I can't connect it to the TV directly because I don't have the cables. So, interesting turn of events there. I'm gonna plug this in. But yeah, this thing was pretty popular with us who wanted to capture, with a lot of people wanted to capture game footage. I thought I wanted to. Then I stepped away. I stopped doing it because I went back to school for game design and kind of just had work and stuff and never put in the effort. Oh, we're going to do that now. I'm tired of doing other stuff. I want to work for myself. So plug this bad boy in. Now, I did actually hook this up. I have the box and everything for this. I have the box for a lot of stuff. But we can plug this in. Boom. And let's see here. Do I have HDMI cables with me? Do not. I must have gave away a bunch of my HDMI cables, or I used them. I think I used them. Yeah, I used them for the computer setup. Oh, by the way, here is the box. I bought this online. I had to buy it not through Amazon, because Amazon wasn't quite what it was when I bought this. Through the actual Elgato website. Look at this thing. Came with a nice little cool box. There's supposed to be software in here. Don't know where it is. Oh, you know what? Maybe it didn't come with the software. It only came with the cables. That's why. Yeah, this was that was back in the day, man. That was the cool stuff. Cool people had that. Before, like AverMedia came in, and I'm glad they came in too, because it gave some competition, but, man, that was back in the day. Let's see. I'm probably using those HDMI cables right now on like a Roku or something. So, alright, well, we have one. I have one. Let's get this thing hooked up. Go in HDMI to the TV. Sorry, you're seeing my legs. I know. Let's see what's going on here. Alright, the Elgato is connected. This will be a blast for the past for anybody who remembers. Let's go to Elgato. Game Capture HD. They even had a sound capture in here. So you can capture sounds. Let's hook this up. We'll get TV capture in just a sec. Alright. Look at that. That old school setup. That is one old school setup. It's looking for my Xbox Series X. That's interesting. So this is still the same software from before. Wow, really? I did not know that. I thought I was using older software. So that's HDMI out. We can move. I'm going to move all this in just a sec. Let's open up our Twitch studio here real quick. Should be in a stream right now. Here we go. So, should be streaming. How do I, this is how I know I haven't done this in a while. Are we streaming from here now? Where are we coming from? Let's exit that. Let's go to Twitch. Let's go here. I want to see channel. Where am I streaming now? Oh, I'm streaming from here. So go live here. Give me a second. All right, I may have to stop this real quick and just kind of go into the. They're here.